all Guyanese. I wish to posit that our primary duty is for us here in this National Assembly is to adopt positions following principles that are consistent with the Constitution. So today I call on all concerned to let their honor and Constitution be their guide as we debate Budget 2025. Mr. Speaker, I sit on the opposition benches, and as a member of the opposition, it is my solemn duty. I am required to examine the budget that has been presented to this House and to faithfully and truthfully pass judgments on its projects, policies, and programs. But while I sit on this side of the House, when it comes to our homeland Guyana, I believe all of us on both sides of the House should be on the same side, batting for our country and our people. I earnestly believe that all of us on the opposition and those on the government side wants what is best for Guyana. Where we differ, I believe it is on the means by which we should get there. This is why I believe that these proceedings should not descend into a shouting match, but should be characterized by civility and a willingness to consider each other's perspective. Mr. Speaker, I believe that we all want what is good for Guyana. We all want a country with a growing economy that will provide resources to improve the lives of our people, including through the generation of employment. I believe that on both sides of the House, we would like to ensure that our people have a decent standard of living and can reside in safe communities. I believe that on both sides of this House, we want to bequeath a future for our children, in which they would enjoy universal access to quality education that adequately equips them with the skills, knowledge, and attitude to be productive, all-rounded citizens. I believe that we would all like to see a healthcare system that is improving constantly and aspires to provide world-class services and where there is greater equity across all the 10 administrative regions. I believe we want a Guyana in which we ensure that meritocracy is recognized and valued. I believe we would like to see a Guyana in which public services are efficient and reliable. I believe that on both sides, we would like to see policies in housing, water and sanitation, local government, infrastructural development, education, security, that uplift our communities and provide our people with a better way of life. I believe we would like to see measures aimed to support our pensioners, our youth, and women. At the heart of all these deliberations, debates, and decisions in this National Assembly, Mr. Speaker, lies a shared aspiration to see a Guyana united, free, and prosperous as a nation. We all dream of a country where our diverse people stand together as one, where freedom and liberties are not just lived rights, but a lived reality for every citizen, and where prosperity reaches every corner of our homeland. This vision should transcend party lines and personal ideology because it reflects the hopes and ambitions of every Guyanese. It is a vision of a Guyana where our resources are harnessed responsibly, our communities thrive, and our children inherit a future filled with opportunities and peace. I sincerely believe that on both sides of the House, there is a willingness to support positive programs, policies, and measures in the budget. Indeed, at sittings of this House, we have witnessed the unanimous passage of legislation. If we can do this for legislation, why can't we do this? Why can't we do the same for program policies and platforms that are in the best interest of our people? It is my view that both sides of the House must be committed to fully articulate their concerns, but at the same time, work together to ensure the budget and its implementation is for the benefit of the people of Guyana. Mr. Speaker, I've taken all this time here to outline these fundamentals because they speak to the core of what a budget should address and how we should approach it. This year's budget theme, Secure, Prosperous, and Sustainable Guyana for All, must be more than words. It must embody bold action and transformative reformation as we approach the conclusion of the government's current term. Today, I rise not merely as a member of parliament, but a citizen deeply invested in the future of our beloved Guyana. My passion stems from a responsibility to my country, my loved ones, and every Guyanese who dream of a nation where fairness, opportunity, and justice prevail. Words alone will not achieve this vision. We must act decisively to ensure a brighter, more inclusive future for every citizen. Mr. Speaker, Guyana is at a pivotal moment. Our rise as the fastest growing economy in the world is a remarkable achievement. Very few will deny that we are in a transformative moment in our country's history. The resources provided by and generated by the discovery of oil provides us with an opportunity to finally be able to realize our full potential as a nation, to lift our people, out of poverty, mitigate costs of living, promote hinterland development, bringing greater relief to the vulnerable, improve our infrastructure, and support the engines of national development, while social development and ensuring food and energy security, safe and secure communities. This is the challenge of Budget 2025. Growth as a nation, growth of an economy comes with great responsibility. We cannot celebrate economic success if there is inequality and inequity. With oil boom, there are realistic expectations for our people and from our people. One-off cash grants and payments and incremental policy adjustments are creditable, yet we must accept that they are not confront the entrenched issues of poverty, inequality, and exclusion. These are common issues that affect every single nation, and they are not unique to Guyana. This reality demands reform action and an unrelenting commitment to addressing these challenges head on. It demands that we take a stand for those who feel left behind, for those whose voices are drowned in the roar of progress. The question is no longer whether we will act, it is how decisively and how boldly we will act to ensure that Guyana's prosperity is shared by all. It is time to abandon half measures and half efforts. Policies must not merely aim to grow wealth, they must ensure its fair distribution and preservation for Guyana's generations. Former President David Granger spoke of a good life as a national aspiration. President Ali envisions a One Guyana. These are not just catchphrases. There must be blueprints for real action. The time now has come, Mr. Speaker, to move from rhetorics to results. It is only fair to acknowledge the achievements of this administration. Investments in agriculture, infrastructure, strides in education, and expanded social programs, the justice sector, etc. These initiatives signal progress, but progress alone is insufficient without equity and equality. No budget is perfect, Mr. Speaker, and this one is no exception. It is our duty as legislators not to settle for good enough, but to demand more equity, more inclusion, and more action. The opposition's role here is not to obstruct progress, but it is to push for better outcomes. Criticism is not opposition for its own sake. It is a call to address gaps, correct missteps, and ensure that governance serve all people, regardless of their religion, class, creed. Governance must not be measured by promises, but by the tangible impact of policies on people's life. Speaker, this budget highlights several areas where urgent and decisive action is required. Education reform. While new schools are being built, which is commendable, they must go beyond infrastructure. We need comprehensive education policies that equip students with life skills that will make them all-rounded, provide teachers with the resources they need, and ensure that every child, regardless of their background, has the tools to succeed across all 10 administrative regions. More so, Mr. Speaker, education has to be current to satisfy the demands of the change of economic and social environment that is unfolding. Progress in closing the infrastructure gap is commendable, but it must accelerate. Hinterland and rural communities must no longer be left behind. Integration into the national economy is critical to achieving equity. The gap between urban and rural regions must be addressed with targeted intervention to address disparities, creating opportunities for all 10 administrative regions to thrive. As we implement transformative policies, we must ensure transparency and vigilance against waste or mismanagement. Every dollar spent must tangibly improve the lives of citizens and contribute to building a sustainable future. Speakers' slogans like One Guyana or a Good Life must be more than aspirations. They must become lived realities. Our people deserve governance that prioritizes their needs and deliver results. National unity, security, and prosperity will not emerge on their own. They require, like I've said earlier, bold and unapologetic action. The opposition has warned repeatedly of the risk of any mismanagement or mismanaging our newfound wealth. These warnings, Mr. Speaker, are not partisan. They are rooted in the desire to see Guyana avoid the pitfalls of inequality and instability. We must act decisively to ensure that our economic growth uplifts every citizen and create an environment where we can all thrive. The time for reform is now. This budget offers a foundation, but it is not an endpoint. It is a call to action, a challenge to every member of the House to do better for our people. Let us work together, not as adversaries, but as stewards of the nation's future, to build a Guyana that is secure, prosperous, and sustainable for generations to come. Mr. Speaker, I wish to address an issue of national urgency and international significance. The measures needed to elevate Guyana's security sector to global standards. As the fastest growing economy in the world, Guyana is experiencing rapid changes, bringing immense opportunities and emerging challenges, particularly in the realm of crime and security. Our country's economic transformation has increased our visibility on the global stage, and it may attract new and sophisticated threats, including cybercrime, transnational organized crime, trafficking, and financial crime. To ensure that Guyana's growth is sustainable, inclusive, and safe, we have to act decisively to modernize our security architecture. Mr. Speaker, while our security forces have long served this nation with dedication, the rapidly evolving nature of global crime necessitates reform to our system, tools, and strategies. Among the challenges we face are cybersecurity threats, transnational organized crime, and our geographical location makes us vulnerable to trafficking in persons, narcotics, arms and ammunition, etc. Financial crimes. With increased capital inflow, we may see a rise in money laundering, tax evasion, and illicit financial flows. Terrorism and extremism, domestic crime. Mr. Speaker, to address these challenges and as someone passionate about security governance, I propose the following measures. Enhance and fully equip the Cybersecurity Authority tasked with monitoring, detecting, and responding to cyber threats. Partner with additional agencies, international agencies, to adopt best practices for protecting critical infrastructure. Invest in additional cybersecurity training for law enforcement. Strengthening our border security, deploy additional advanced surveillance technology at key border points to detect illegal activities. Continue to collaborate with neighboring countries to enhance intelligence sharing mechanism. Increase the presence and resources of the Guyana Police Force and the Guyana Defense Force in border regions. Transition to intelligence-led policing. Ensure that our security equipment are modernized and are of global standards and quality. Strengthens Guyana's participation in international security organization, enter into more and or strengthen bilateral and multilateral agreements with countries and agencies to combat crime, seek technical and financial support where needed and where necessary, bolster the resources of the FIU, ensure full compliance with standards set by the Financial Action Task Force, foster stronger police-community relations to build trust, expand programs that will address youth unemployment and education to reduce crime, additional public awareness campaigns on emerging threats, craft a comprehensive forward-looking national security strategy, establish a broad-based national security council to coordinate efforts between law enforcement, intelligence agencies, and policymakers. On this note of trading here, Mr. Speaker, I wish to place on record that the Guyana Police Force has demonstrated some commitment to improving law enforcement capabilities, professionalism, and road safety through extensive training programs and resource acquisition. There has been significant budget allocation for trainings in this area. Allocation of about 250 annually for training should underscore a prioritization of modern policing and capacity building. Training, however, must encompass specialized areas to address the multifaceted challenges faced by law enforcement. While several ranks benefits from specialized overseas courses, a greater emphasis on cascading this knowledge to broader police units is essential to maximize its impact. The consistent allocation of roughly around 250 annually for training indicates a prioritization, but, Mr. Speaker, underutilization raises questions about efficient planning and execution. Mr. Speaker, while we modernize our security system, we must also ensure that these measures uphold the values of accountability, transparency, and human rights. Independent oversight mechanisms must be strengthened to monitor the performance of security agencies and prevent abuses of power. As the people's representative, we in this House must ensure that these initiatives receive the necessary budgetary allocation and legislative support. We must prioritize investments in security as a foundation for sustainable growth and prosperity. Mr. Speaker, Guyana's economic growth is a beacon of hope, but it also makes us a target for sophisticated crimes. By adopting these measures, we can ensure that Guyana not only meets international security standards, but it also becomes a regional leader in safeguarding its citizens and its interests. I urge all members of the House to come together in support of these proposals, recognizing that security is the cornerstone of peace, progress, and prosperity. Let us ensure that every Guyanese can live and thrive in a safe and secure nation. I will now touch on the government's One Guyana Digital School initiative. The government's proposal to implement a One Guyana Digital School initiative is a bold step towards modernizing Guyana's education system. While the vision aligns with global trends, its success, though, depends on its thorough evaluation on its feasibility, inclusivity, and sustainability. As we deliberate on the 2025 budget, it is imperative to critically analyze this initiative to ensure that it delivers transformative results. A digital school, Mr. Speaker, could transform access to quality education by connecting students in remote and hinterland areas to the same resources as their urban counterparts. Interactive learning can promise to create an equitable learning environment. Modernizing education includes equipping teachers with advanced infrastructure tools and access to international expertise. This initiative aligns with the Guyana's diversification into a technology-driven economy. By equipping students with skills in ICT, data analysis, and AI, the digital school can position the next generation for leadership in emerging industries. And I'm very passionate about this here because as a mother, my children stand to benefit. However, without robust infrastructure, hinterland and rural communities risk exclusion from the benefits of digital education. Limited access to reliable electricity and internet could also deepen existing inequalities. The affordability of devices and internet access may also pose a problem for low-income families. Transitioning to digital learning demands significant teacher training. Resistance to change could also pose a problem. Hence, I propose the following. Prioritize investment in electricity, invest in high-speed internet. The option is always Starlink, Elon Musk internet. Infrastructure is the backbone of this initiative. Subsidize access to technology, develop a comprehensive teacher manual. Start with a hybrid approach. Involve parents, teachers, community, and all stakeholders. The government's One Guyana School initiative holds transformative potential for Guyana sector. However, realizing the vision requires strategic planning, decisive action, and unwavering commitment to inclusivity. By addressing these critical challenges, inequality, infrastructure, capacity building, and cybersecurity, we can ensure this initiative is not just a vision, but a catalyst for meaningful change. As parliamentarians, Mr. Speaker, it is our responsibility to demand smart investment, rigorous oversight, and stakeholder collaboration. Let us all in this House act decisively to create an education system that equips every child to thrive in the digital age and secure Guyana's future as a leader in education and innovation. Mr. Speaker, I will now briefly touch on some of the measures. The government proposes targeted measures to alleviate expenses for households and businesses. I will touch on a couple for the two sectors that I've spoken. Electricity cost reduction. A projected 50% reduction post-completion of the gas-to-energy project. Timely completion is critical for realizing this benefit. Reduced electricity and consistent access to electricity can positively impact both of the two areas I've touched on, the security aspect and education. Eliminating tolls for 50,000 daily commuters reduces transportation costs. Reduced transportation costs can provide easier access to schools and provide opportunities for students and teachers to have reliable transportation. The health voucher. A 10,000 voucher for basic tests targets 500,000 people. This can positively contribute to students having annual health checks. A healthy student population brings positive outcomes and attendance will be more consistent. The part-time job program. An 11 million allocation supports supplemental income. Student engagement and participation in the part-time job program can provide opportunities for training and at the same time offer students opportunity to gain meaningful experience to assist in national development. I have listened closely to what the Honorable Minister of Finance has said when he read his speech. It was not short on policies, programs, and projects. It highlighted what was achieved in 2024 and what is planned for this year. It was a budget that sought to capture some of the aspirations of our people and translate them into actionable measures. It is a budget that has announced some policies for community development. However, its success must translate to measures that reach down to the ordinary man and woman. It addresses in fair measure some of what we aspire to see. I have taken note of certain actions embarked by President Ali and his administration, and they appear to bear some mark of prudence, practicality, and pragmatism. Some of these measures, it would seem, may well signify a serious and considerate effort to advance towards the fulfillment of the objectives I have outlined. We must therefore all remain committed to contribute positively to ensure that the aspiration of our people moves swiftly to realization. I will not stand here in this House, Mr. Speaker, in good conscience and say that this budget is completely vacuous and lacks vision. There are some fair measures to alleviate cost of living. It is my view, Mr. Speaker, that consideration should be given for the abolition of VAT, which will serve to further enhance.
Honorable member, I've just given consideration to the time. If to continue, you have to get an extension.
Comrade Speaker, I do move that the honorable member be given 5 minutes to conclude her presentation.
Thank you. Honorable member, 5 minutes to conclude.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is my view, Mr. Speaker, that consideration should be given to the abolition of VAT, which will serve to enhance the quality of life of all the citizens of our beloved country. Any effort to unite our people is commendable. The consistent work among communities by this administration must be extended to all communities within the 10 administrative regions. I'm confident in the success of Guyana on the policies that translate to equality. Mr. Speaker, and while I sit on the opposition benches, I must say this: I see no reason why this budget should be a source of division in this House once our proposals and recommendations are considered. There are measures in this budget that can and should be supported by all sides. Measures that speak to the heart of what government is about, improving the lives of our people. Speaker, I started off my speech by saying that with growth comes responsibility. In the Marvel superhero movie, there's a famous line or phrase that says, with great power comes great responsibility. President Ali must now demonstrate to the nation whether he shall soar to the revered role of the heroic champion, the hero Spider-Man of Guyana, and thus carve his name into the archives of history as a figure of great virtue and renown, or whether he shall instead take on the dreadful guise of the Green Goblin of Guyana. Consistent with my duty to act for the benefit of the people of Guyana, I lend my full support to the positive budgetary measures of this budget. Let us make this a moment where we rise above the fray, where we put the interests of our people first, and where we demonstrate that we are worthy of the trust that they have placed in us. Measures that alleviate poverty, I support. I support progress, I support peace, I support prosperity, I support commitment. I also support ambitions, I support liberty, I support inspirations. Before I take my leave, Mr. Speaker, permit me to thank the hardworking staff of the Ministry of Finance for the continued hard work and dedication. Working on the production of a budget is no easy feat. So kudos to all of you, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member.